Welcome to another episode of the Halas Huddle podcast. Here are your hosts, Rob Schwartz and Justin Oniemi, two Bears fans who decided talking into a microphone was better than shouting at their television.
Yeah! We got this.
I hit the wrong button and took us out of our whole podcast. All right. Halas Huddlers,
Huddle up! We're back.
That's all it takes. Get us back on track.
It's like fumbled a snap,
Yeah.
and then we huddled up.
That's
kind
right.
of Justin Field style. Whoops. Sorry. Different podcast now. Different podcast.
He actually wasn't bad.
He
I
had
think
a
it was
good
6 or
game.
7.
He had 2 fumbled snaps, which we've seen a lot of in
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Blamed a lot of centers for it, but I don't know what happened there. But anyway,
Maybe it was him.
we digress.
So episode 83 of the Halas Huddle podcast. I'm Rob Schwartz. As always, Justin Oniemi.
Rob wants this to be about him. I think it's the Willie Galt episode, but you are so important to the Halas Huddle. We're going with the Rob Schwartz episode.
Yeah, 1983.
All right.
Dating myself right there. But
Woo! It's all right. You get this episode. I missed out on my chance, but
yeah,
we'll move
I didn't
past
think
it.
about it until
No, Greg Olsen. He's a legend.
Yeah, well.
So
Willie Galt is pretty good too.
any Super Bowl shuffle bear
Yeah,
is got a place in my heart.
exactly.
So speaking of Halas Huddle, just being on a little bit of a winning streak and you being the brains of the operation, do you want to share a big announcement?
Yeah, so we have some really exciting news. Really exciting news for us. It is our first ever sponsor of our podcast. And we are absolutely thrilled to announce our partnership with Betstamp and Sign Up Expert. Okay, so opening up an incredible opportunity for all of you Halas Huddlers out there to join some of our favorite sports books and get the best odds and even new user offers. Okay, so if you've not signed up for some of these and you sign up, then you get those new user offers. So all you have to do is head over to our sign up page, or it's a dedicated sign up page. There's no code needed. Okay, you
Just the link.
Just the links. You go to signupexpert.com/huddle. Again, signupexpert.com/huddle. And we will have that as a link in the description for this episode. But for those of you listening, I was hopefully said it slow enough.
You did. You said it twice. We're good.
Okay. So you can go on there, explore a selection of different sports books that are tailored to your specific region. So even if you're in a different area, it'll give you your specific sports books, and they have unique offerings. So if you're ready to take sports betting to the next level and show some of your love for the Halas Huddle podcast, then we highly recommend signing up for your next sports book through our dedicated sign up expert link.
Absolutely. Have fun with it. Exciting. Be responsible, obviously.
Yes, definitely.
But we're excited to have them as a partner, and we're excited for the Chicago Bears. So this episode is going to break down preseason game 2, kind of game 1.
Yeah.
The Hall of Fame game was fun. It kind of whet our appetite, but we didn't get to see Caleb Williams. We didn't get to see some of the starters, and we definitely got to see that this Saturday against Buffalo. I already said Caleb Williams. I mean, I think that's where everyone's eyes went right away. So you want to just take it from there?
Let's just dive in. So I actually went through the All-22. There wasn't a lot, but I pulled out some select plays, not all of them.
Wait, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can I just put one thing out there?
Yeah.
Of course, we have to put the caveat that it's just preseason.
Just preseason.
But I want to say this. Preseason gives you an opportunity to look good or to look concerning.
Yeah. Yes.
And so I just want to put that out there. We understand that, but still.
Correct.
We liked some of the things we saw. Sorry to interrupt you there.
Yeah, no. And I will point out some of the bad.
Of course.
Okay, so let's just dive right in if I can find my cursor here. So this is not the play. Hold on. It's right after this. Here we go. So this is the third down.
First completion, I believe.
It was the
third and 13.
Yeah, I was going to say 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13 that he completes to DJ Moore. Good protection. He, just lets it rip. He did have the running back a little bit off into the flat on the right, but obviously in the long distance down and
third down too.
You're not going to be throwing that unless you have nothing else.
We get very frustrated when I'll say Bears quarterbacks, but when I see it at all, when you throw short of the chains on third down.
Yeah. Occasionally a screen play works on third and super long, right? But and if you have no one to throw to, I get it. But he saw DJ Moore on that little curl route, fired a bullet in there, boom, first down.
It's one of the things we're excited about the personnel.
Yep.
On third down and medium and third down and long, I don't care the fact that Caleb Williams is a rookie quarterback. Being able to have guys like DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, and I'll throw Rome Odunze in there, but those guys are professional receivers who just know the nuances of getting open. DJ Moore did have a drop, I'd say, later.
We'll see that.
But that was a big play.
Yeah.
Overall, you want to go?
Yes, this is the next one. Speaking of short plays, you don't see it in this one, but this is the little dump off to DeAndre Swift.
I call it the flipperoo.
I like that name. That goes, I think, 42 yards.
42 yards.
And let me say, some great blocking downfield too, right? Like that set that up right there on the outside. It was Shelton and I think Tevin Jenkins who got out there. So, but here's the good view of this, right? You're going to see just a little, he's got nothing, whoop. There you go.
All right. I'm just trying so hard, Rob, not to be the meatball. But there was a little bit of a Mahomesian look there, right?
No,
right?
There was.
I mean, I thought overall Caleb Williams showed poise.
Yeah.
When he always has his eyes down the field, but can still sense the pocket.
Yes.
Had good decision making.
So that's the difference that I have with him versus now. This isn't a Caleb Williams play. I left this one in here because I just wanted to point out, and it was just the next play.
Led to 2nd and 1?
No.
Oh.
The fact that the outside zone run was like dominating Buffalo in this game, right? Like, and Khalil Herbert to me, I was a guy I thought wasn't going to make, and we'll talk about it on the second half, but like, I wasn't so sure he was going to make this team. He played well.
Right. And there's another name that we're going to have to glue to his. But like you said, the first half of the show, we're going to talk a lot of Caleb Williams. We'll talk more big picture.
Yeah, we don't need to see
in the second half.
The back half of this. So now we're going to see Caleb Williams, in my opinion, worst play of the game.
Okay.
Worst play of the game. Okay. They're backed up deep. I want to say this is second down.
I know what happens here.
Second down. Now I will say he didn't really have anyone open. Like, look, I'll pause it here. Okay. Guys are covered pretty well, right? Covered pretty well. Kind of just has a single read here. Sets up nice though. Good footwork. He's got, plenty of time, right? Does that little double hitch.
Could have been a pick six.
Right? And just decides to throw this here. And like the coverage is just really bad.
I also didn't think it was a flag, but maybe it came a little earlier and the flag came late.
Maybe.
Because they didn't call pass interference. They called illegal hands.
Illegal. Yeah, it was illegal hands. I was going to say illegal contact.
Yeah.
So again, they got bailed out here, right?
Unless he saw the contact, but that's risky.
Right. It looks like
it's the double hitch.
Yeah.
That you don't like to see.
No,
especially you're in your end zone too.
Not at all. Okay, so this brings us back into good Caleb Williams play. That to me was his worst play of the whole entire game. Another thing that I liked, right?
Good design here.
This design rollouts, right? They got everybody going one direction. And he naked bootlegs to the opposite way.
To DJ Dang Moore.
Right? And he has somebody to have to beat. But look
he gets up there, he wants to block.
Yeah.
Nah.
But he put himself in front of him, right? Did slow him down.
Careful about those game checks, though.
Can I say, though, DJ Moore, this is a preseason game, my friend. Like, you already had the first down. Like, he was fighting for those yards.
These guys, they're probably itching to take a few hits, to be honest, at this point.
Like, look at that.
Yeah, he's fighting.
He is. Just because
he knows he's only going to get a series or two.
A little
He's
nervous.
only going to get a series or two.
This is the next play. And again, I think this is a run. Yeah. Another one to the outside. It was a pitch. Boom. Yeah. Like they sealed the outside except for on the one run that would have been a touchdown.
2nd and 1 and 3rd and 1.
Yeah.
Now on the 3rd and 1, it was kind of frustrating to see them only get 3 points on that drive. But I don't know if you heard this, but did Caleb Williams change it to a run
Oh, I did not hear that.
I think I heard that. Now,
Okay.
I think you should be able to run for 1 yard. They had been running well up to that point.
Right.
So I'm not going to get too nitpicky.
Yeah.
Points are points.
Exactly.
But in games, getting 3 instead of 6 or 7
yeah.
can come down and hurt you.
All right. So this, if I'm remembering correctly, is his best play. Another one. Boom. Design. Roll out. Fake. Bam. Cole Kmet.
That must have tired Kmet out because on the very next play is when he dropped it.
I showed it, and the only reason I showed it was just to show that, look, it was an incompletion on his stat sheet, but yet
this angle is going to be really good, I bet, for seeing the.
It's awesome. He's got that. There's that
snaps. He
Caleb, Caleb Williams
Jordan logo.
Yeah.
So you pointed it out already, but moving the pocket is going to be a big part of this offense. And him being able to, while being on the move, keep his eyes down for the decisions to throw and knowing when to run.
Right.
He ran for one. The slip and slide clearly worked.
Do you know the plays in order here? Because that's exactly what's
about
to happen.
I'm geeked about this. I'm geeked. I didn't know, but go ahead.
No, it should be right here. Like you said, it's got the slip and slide, which they referenced there from Hard Knocks. Oh, wait. Nope. It's after this one. Sorry, I didn't want to.
But again, do you see that action? You're sending a guy in motion.
Right.
That may have been an option read. There's a lot of things they're going to be able to do here.
Right?
Jet motion with probably an option read.
Yeah.
I like it.
Now this should be the...
And he could pull back and still throw to the guy maybe who's on the jet sweep.
Right. So what I like about this play is, and I heard his... Let me back up for just a second. I heard his explanation of this play. And if you look... Okay, we'll stop it here. They have single high safety is what it looks like, at least here, right? So he has his play. He said he has his play in his head, but then all of a sudden
he sees
the DB, right, quickly goes back. And if he threw this ball, because it was a go route, if he threw this ball, there's a good chance it was intercepted.
Yeah.
And he decided not to go to that route and didn't have anything else open.
But now the field was open.
The field was wide open. Whoop, there's that slip and slide.
Love it. Well, and that's good to hear. The cerebral part of the game is already clicking in.
That's the difference. And I don't want to compare him and Justin Fields, but like that is the
or him and Trubisky. Because you see Trubisky playing for Buffalo now as a backup. That was always an issue for him. So they said he knew what he was supposed to do, but then when he's out there, being able to see it in that quick recall right away in the moment.
So we're going to go real quick because I wanted to get through these. There's only 2 plays left. This is the DJ Moore incompletion. Again, great play design.
Yep, because he could have hit
I will say, when I was watching the game, there was one play where I saw 2 crossers where the guys like basically ran into one another. Outside of that, we're talking, basically the first preseason game with the starters. Outside of that, you never saw guys in the same area.
Well, what do you know? What do you know?
Getsy?
I know. They Getsied it that one time.
This one, I wanted to point out. Yeah. Multiple, like, look at how he goes through those reads. 1, 2, 3, boom. Now, he had the right read. He just, and that's a tough throw.
But I don't know. I didn't hear anything about this, but watching it and then watching the replay, I thought that Odunze should have faded to the corner because that was the open space, and that's where Williams tried to throw it.
Right.
But can't get too nitpicky.
No.
He threw it where only his guy had a chance.
Exactly.
It didn't come down with it. Once again, you're getting 3 instead of potentially 6 or 7.
Yep.
But overall, I was very impressed with getting in the huddle. There was noise. Right away, he's coming on the field. You can tell he's having trouble hearing. Those are the kind of things you want to get a little bit of experience with.
The poise was there, though. He did not look like a first game rookie to me. And I know it's preseason, but the Bills had their starters out there.
Yeah.
I am going to be curious to see, though, because they're saying that the Bengals are not going to start their starters.
They're practicing against them.
But they're practicing this week. But I'm wondering now, will the Bears not play their starters because they're having that practice?
Right. Well, so when I started this off with the disclaimer being it's preseason, we know that defenses aren't throwing their most exotic blitz packages at you. They're not really truly game planning. We get all that. But from what I'm hearing, in practice, Eberflus is sending exotic blitzes, probably more so than he would like to do with his own defense. He's not much of a blitzer. I think the Bears ranked in the lower third of the league in overall blitz percentage last year. They started to more than they wanted to because they couldn't
generate
any pressure
until they got sweat.
But everything is about Caleb Williams and the offense coming together. They're the new unit.
Yeah.
And, reports in practice, he's shown really high highs and flashes, but he's had some struggles. And you expect that.
Yeah.
But then you finally get to see him against another team. Boy, it looked pretty sharp.
It sure did.
So very exciting. Why don't we take a break and then we can talk more globally about he wasn't the only player out there.
He was not the only player out there. I will say, and we could have watched it in the film, but Matt Pryor impressed me. We're going to tease it with that.
All right. Sounds great.
Tease it with that.
Enjoy these ads. And we are back, episode 83 of the Halas Huddle, talking about preseason game number 2 against the Buffalo Bills, where the Bears were victorious, 33-6. Very, very strong performance. We already broke down the Caleb Williams component, but as we said before the break, he was not the only player out there. Now, I want to talk a lot about the defense. No sweat. Is what I was thinking. But before we do that, Rob, before the break, you mentioned a player on the offensive line that impressed you. So why don't we talk about that and then get to the defense?
Yeah, I was just impressed by Matt Pryor, who stepped in at right guard for the starters. And in my opinion, and I know it's preseason, we already led with that, but Nate Davis is on notice. Ryan Bates is on notice. I know he was hurt, but Shelton played well. He's my starting center. I'm tired of this back and forth shit.
Get some consistency.
You play Shelton at center. Had a great game, in my opinion, as well.
Bates has more experience as a guard.
Yeah.
But he was injured. So.
Yeah. But Nate Davis, I'm sorry. You can ride the pony on the bench. You can ride that pine, and I don't know if they actually use wood.
I don't think so.
And next year, you're gone.
Well, here's the thing. We talked about it from a cap casualty standpoint. There's not a benefit of cutting him. There might even be a little bit of a penalty.
Money, yeah.
But you know what? That might send a message to the team that
that's true.
This is time. We want to be cohesive. We want to move towards something. We want to be playoff contention.
Yeah.
Compete for things. And you haven't stepped up. And I mean, I don't want to get into all the details of why. We know this family situation last year.
Right.
But just availability, and it predates back to when he was in Tennessee. It was one of the things that followed him as a free agent. You and I always giving Ryan Poles his flowers. But one of the things I respect about Poles is when he does make a mistake, he sometimes just says, you know what? That's the mistake. We're moving on from it. And so they have a decent amount of cap space where maybe you're okay losing $2 million, if that's what the number is, in a cap penalty, because Bates, I think, has proven his value as both your either starting / backup center and a backup guard.
Versatility.
And he's got the versatility. Like you said, Pryor played well. There are other guys, playing decent, and you just aren't seeing what Nate Davis can provide you. So it'd be an interesting thing to see. How you got to make some tough decisions to get to a 53.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad I'm not one of them.
Well, we'll see. There's still a couple more opportunities, a joint practice, like you said. So we'll see. Ready to go talk some defense?
Yeah, let's go to the other side of the ball.
There was some defense being played by the Bears. Like I said, no sweat.
One
guy, I don't want to say too much about him. I saw him just enough, and I was surprised. And actually, his body looked different to me. Dominique Robinson had a couple good plays. There was one where it was on a third down, I think, too. Made an inside move on the guy covering him and got a tackle for loss on their running back. I think it was 3rd and 2 at the time, forcing a punt.
He was never good at
stopping the run, so
he
would lose contain. Yes. I mean, again, he had limited snaps, I would say, but he's definitely playing for a spot on this team.
Yeah,
and showed some flashes. Of course, Austin Booker.
Yeah,
very, very impressive.
So I just want to touch on one thing with Austin Booker since you brought him up. I wrote an article after the first game, and everyone was about how Austin Booker had this amazing game. First of all, everyone thought he got a strip sack, which he didn't.
You talking about the Hall of Fame game?
The Hall of Fame game, yeah.
Okay.
So after that game, I wrote an article about it because when I went back and watched every one of his snaps. What bothered me was I didn't see him getting off the ball as quick as I saw him getting off the ball on college film. And I wrote,
it was wet conditions.
Well, it might have been, but he was like one of the slower guys. And like, to me, that just set off like not alarms, but like, I think I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to how he plays in game 2. And I said in my article, like, look, I don't think the Chicago Bears need to be worried. None of this came out on tape when I watched it when he was playing in college. This game, he was back to his college stuff.
Right.
Like,
so maybe it's the field conditions.
Might have been. Maybe he had to get different cleats or something.
Yeah, but I didn't watch it as close as you. But in that first game, I did notice he was generating some power on his bull rush, which he's still undersized, but he's knowing how to use his leverage and long athletic build.
His counter moves.
Yes, he likes a spin.
The inside, outside, inside.
He had 2.5 sacks in the game against Buffalo, and in one of them, he had an initial strong rush, then got turned around and just the pursuit. And that's a Matt Eberflus, like,
they kept saying it in the broadcast that he was like a poor man's Max Crosby.
Right. And Crosby was a later pick, I believe 4th round as well. Well, actually Booker was 5th. But you can get guys with some talent in these later rounds. Overall, I think this game featured a lot of promising Ryan Poles selections.
Yeah.
Sack Pickens made a sack right at the end of the half, I believe.
Yeah.
And Daniel Hardy, I don't know if there's a position for him, but it all makes me wonder, is there a Eric Washington effect already taking place?
Yeah.
He was brought here as the defensive coordinator, somewhat in title,
but he was a defensive
but he's a defensive line guru. Yeah. Maybe they're okay not going after a Yannick Ngakoue because they think they have a guy that can get the best out of these younger players and they want to see what they can do. And that was all without your best guy in Montez Sweat out there, who's going to have lots of attention on him in any game that he plays. So I'm curious about the Eric Washington thing. Now, in this game, he did actually get to call plays on the defense. And we talked about it in our Hard Knocks episode. Tune in later tonight. Well, I'm assuming this is going to air Tuesday morning.
Yeah, this is going to air Tuesday morning.
So Tuesday night, tune in. We'll do another Hard Knocks
live episode
recap.
Yep, and we'll be a little bit behind everybody else.
Around
so if you
9:30,
get bored with the other ones that are going on,
tune in on your Halas Huddle.
The CHGOs of the world. Adam Hogue thinks that he's the only one out there. Blah blah blah.
But I'm curious. What my tie-in though was we had mentioned in that episode how Eberflus, as a defensive-minded coach, seems to, and we know his job and many others are tied a lot into Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Now, from what I'm hearing, it's still the plan that he calls defensive plays. But if Eric Washington is capable of that and does a good job with it, would you consider? I mean, would you? And do you think Eberflus would consider it?
I would. I don't know if Eberflus would, but maybe because he wasn't originally calling the plays last season.
It wasn't the plan going in.
Right. I think that he definitely would love to turn it over. I know he didn't say he was going to, right? In the beginning, he said, look, no, I'm going to call plays because it turned the defense around last year. But if Eric Washington can prove that he can handle it, if I'm a head coach, I would rather be able to focus on every other aspect of the game.
Simple things like when to call timeout, when to challenge, all these things 100%. That you get. Those are the things you get grilled for on Monday morning when your team loses a close game. Not so much, on 3rd and 7 in the third quarter. Why did you call? But I'm curious, was he given that opportunity to see what he could do? Or was it more like, hey, this is your former team? Well, he came from Buffalo.
That's true.
And maybe it's like, hey, you get to call the plays against your former team.
Maybe.
I liked what I saw. I mean, lots of pursuit, forcing turnovers. Just energy.
Yeah.
And
if you're not excited about the Chicago Bears, man, I don't know what to tell you. So, hey, real quick, hit that subscribe button. I forgot to say it, but hit that subscribe button. I know we've got our partnership with Betstamp, but we are still doing our jersey giveaway, right? Yes. So hit that subscribe button. You are automatically entered into our giveaway once we hit 750 subscribers.
Somebody's getting a free Bears jersey.
That's going out the door right to you.
So we mentioned the offense looking good. We mentioned the defense. There are 3 phases to the game. What did you think of 4th round pick Torrey Taylor?
I had him in my notes.
There you go. There you go.
He said this was one of the toughest games because of the wind that he's ever played in.
And he still put 2 inside the 15.
So here's my thoughts. The first one that he put down there, he got it into like the 5, I think, and
nobody was there.
Poor punt coverage.
Yeah, what are they
doing?
Okay,
but he directionally punted it.
There was plenty of hang time.
Yeah, but he directionally punted it like to the right hash, like inside the right hash to the boundary, and again, no one was there. So the next time he punts it, what does he do?
Put it right on the sideline.
He put it right on the sideline so it went out of bounds. He doesn't need a fucking coverage team.
Made that adjustment. Now, we've been going at this podcast for a little more than 2 years now. We've talked through some dark times. Did you think we'd be talking this much about punting in preseason awesome. Game number 2?
He's awesome, and he's an Aussie, so I just love that too.
But I mean, there's things he does that I think could make a difference in the outcome of a game. I mean, I don't want to overstate it, but field position matters so much.
To think that field position doesn't matter is like an oversight. If you're a coach or even a fan, and you're just like, it's the punter, who cares? No, it matters.
Absolutely. And with the new kickoff rule.
But did you see the shank by their punter?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
he got a friendly bounce after the shank.
Yes,
so it wasn't as bad as it actually could have been.
But just saying, like, that makes a difference. Yeah. And again, it's preseason. It doesn't matter. But if it was a real game.
Yeah, you're right. So one last thing. The D-line I thought looked great. But I wonder, too, is that secondary how good they are, so it's all seemingly potentially coming together.
There's one big one that I wanted to talk about.
You got one more?
Haven't mentioned.
Okay.
Velus Jones.
Oh, I meant to. You're right.
And you hinted at it.
It was a callback that I forgot the callback myself.
Yeah, so you hinted at there's another running back that might be competing.
Oh boy. So
Roschon Johnson didn't get any carries. I don't think he played.
He did.
Did he?
Well,
okay.
you talk, and I'm going to look up his stats.
I just don't remember seeing him.
Well, that's the thing. He didn't get much.
Okay. But Velus Jones got some carries. I want to say he got 6 or 8 carries.
Maybe you're right. He didn't get any.
He got 6 or 8 carries. And again, maybe Roschon was out. I apologize. I did not pay enough attention to who was playing and who wasn't playing right before the game. And I have not decided to go back and look.
You are forgiven.
I know I'll be called out, though. Gary Ross, text me, tell me, was Roschon Johnson out for this game? Please let me know. I can't believe that it took a different offensive coordinator to figure out what Velus Jones is good at. Because to me, when I see him, he reminds me of Cordarrelle Patterson.
Yeah, there's always been that image in my mind.
Like, he's a fast guy, a bigger guy. He's your returner, your kick returner.
A weapon in the kick return game. Not so much in the punt.
No.
Just like Cordarrelle Patterson as well.
And he did botch a kick return, right?
Which I think the issue, a lot of them are muffs. It's not like he's getting hit while running, and he's had maybe one where he's been stripped while running.
Yeah,
but they're muffs, which is kind of implying he's having trouble tracking the ball.
Yes,
he's had some drops as receiver.
Correct. But he's got that speed. Now, if you're keeping him on the roster as a returner, give him a package as a running back because he's not going to get out there as a receiver.
So is Travis Homer not going to make the team if Velus Jones makes the team?
To me, Travis Homer is not making this team because I'm giving that spot to Khalil Herbert.
I guess that's a different way of saying the same thing I'm saying.
Yes.
Because originally, it's tough to imagine Herbert almost as your running back 3 because normally your running back 3 should have some kind of special teams value, and that's not his game.
No, but I feel like you can make up for that in other positions. Linebackers, DBs.
I mean,
you don't need your
I don't want to raise an issue that's not an issue.
You see Velus out there on other special teams plays. Like he's out there on kick
coverage. He's a big body.
Punt returner. Yeah. I think he might be. He's not a gunner because I remember seeing him on the inside.
I don't want to raise an issue that's not an issue, but honestly, I don't see how it won't come up. Khalil Herbert is not an ideal running back 3. I wouldn't necessarily say Roschon is either. Is him performing well in preseason an opportunity to raise his trade value, and he's potentially not going to be on the Bears come week 1?
I mean, here's the thing. I'm not going to cry if Khalil Herbert gets traded.
No, because you really like what you see out of DeAndre Swift.
Right.
Roschon shows promise and is a more complete back, I think.
Yeah, he's still the best blocking running back out of all of them.
And then there's the Velus factor.
Right. But I still think Swift is a better blocker than Herbert too, which makes Herbert but the way he was running those outside zone plays, I don't know. I mean, again, it's preseason. So.
Okay. Well, very much an exciting time to be a Bears fan.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see another episode of Hard Knocks and react to that. And when is their next preseason game? Cincinnati.
Cincinnati on the 17th. I actually have 2 tickets available still that are out there if anyone wants to go to StubHub and buy them. So.
Lots of promotions today. All right.
I just want to make sure. There's one other name that I did want to mention before I forget, because he's in my list, is Jalen Jones. Also played a very well game in the coverage with the starters. Like he was playing really, really well. So
Jalen Johnson dropped an interception.
Yeah.
Last year was the year that he finally started getting them. Although was it a PI on
might have been.
Keon Coleman, I believe it was.
Might have been. But.
So all right. Well, I had fun watching the game. I had fun talking with you, Halas Huddle.
Yeah. So tomorrow night.
Yeah.
9:30ish.
About 9:30.
Okay. And
bear down.
Claws up.
Claws up.
Bears.